Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Xiong. Facing with a highly infectious disease and with its dilapidated healthcare system, North Korea has no choice but to mount a heavy-handed defense. But nearly a year into the pandemic, the pain caused by the COVID-19 measures has become visible. To ward off outbreaks, Pyongyang has locked down entire provinces and shut down foreign tourism, one of the regime's last sources of outside income amid international sanctions. Trade with China, the North's main benefactor, has plunged 75% in 2020 versus the previous year, according to data from China's Customs Office. It withered to less than 1.7 million in October, a 99% drop from the same month a year earlier. North Korean exports of wigs, watches, and shoes stopped that month as authorities on both sides of the border tried to minimize human contact. Pyongyang's imports of food and medical equipment from China also grounded to a halt in October, citing Chinese traders and North Korean defectors. North Korea has restricted movement and trade on the border all year to guard against the pandemic. In August, Pyongyang tightened the border security further, ordering its customs officials to take extra precautions disinfecting goods and ratcheting up penalties against smugglers bringing in goods that hadn't been properly cleaned. That has led to longer delays for imports and a likely decrease in smuggling. According to South Korean lawmakers who were briefed by Seoul intelligence officials, in November, a North Korean border town known for smuggling, Haesan, was locked down after regime authorities found a stack of foreign cash had been brought in without being properly disinfected. Prices of food staples like sugar and condiments have quadrupled in recent weeks from earlier 2020. The North Korean won, which has remained steady even amid international sanctions, has surged twice last year relative to the US dollar, rising 20% recently. The increase is likely the result of government attempts to prevent depreciation. Authorities have tried to limit the use of US dollars and Chinese yuan by threatening imprisonment. At least one major foreign currency dealer was executed in 2020. Kim Byung-yong is a professor of economics at Seoul National University who has studied the North Korean economy for close to 2 decades. He predicts there could be a 10% economic slide last year. To calculate his forecast, he used figures from South Korea's central bank, which has data going back to 1990. North Korea hasn't faced an annual slide of that magnitude during that period. The closest the country came was in 1992 on the eve of a nationwide famine, when the economy shrank by 7.1% according to the bank's data. Security experts say that the tough economic times, however, don't likely portend any dramatic shifts in Pyongyang's appetite to re-engage in denuclearization talks with Washington. At an October 10 military parade, the North showcased waves of new weapons and military gear. In recent weeks, Pyongyang's state media has championed an 80-day campaign leading up to a Workers' Party Congress meeting in January, asking North Korea to help the economy by boosting agriculture and equipment production. Some 300,000 party members were praised for volunteering to rebuild thousands of homes in North Korean regions devastated by summer floods. But signs of strain have been showing. Mr. Kim made a rare admission of defeat on the country's economic policy over the summer. Late November, he berated the top officials for failing to come up with new ideas. He has rejected outside offers for relief, while urging citizens to embrace a self-reliance. Instead, Mr. Kim's regime has pointed to its claim of having 0 COVID-19 cases as its big achievement last year. Over the decades, North Korea and the ruling Kim family have shown resilience through famine, other public health scars, and rounds of sanctions. Pyongyang has developed a multitude of sanction-evading methods to keep generating cash that don't pop up on official trade data, from cyber shakedowns to illicit ship-to-ship transfers. The North Korean economy has languished for decades, hobbled by communist mismanagement, a famine in the late 1990s, and gradually tougher sanctions imposed by the United Nations since 2006, when the North carried out its first nuclear test. By February 2019, when Mr. Kim and Mr. Trump held their second summit meeting in Vietnam, the North Korean leader was desperate for relief. But Mr. Kim's hopes of easing the sanctions ended when the Vietnam talks collapsed. Recently, signs have emerged of growing stress on the North's economy, especially its foreign currency reserves. The government recently issued public bonds for the first time in 17 years, reported Daily NK, a Seoul-based website that uses informants inside the North. Mr. Kim tested the elite's loyalty by asking them to buy bonds with foreign currency, it said. Last year, China has purchased millions of tons of North Korean coal despite United Nations sanctions that ban such exports from Pyongyang. Those deals could have provided over $400 million to the Kim regime. However, China's aid is not altruistic. It provided just enough help to avoid an internal crisis. China won't let the Kim regime collapse. The drop in trade with China is partly explained by the North's preparations ahead of the January Workers' Party meeting, where officials are expected to outline the regime's next economic plan, anticipating a gathering of thousands of the country's elite, including Mr. Kim. The uptick in prevention measures is protection against potential virus spread. If the virus has taught Kim Jung-un anything, it is how dependent his economy is on China. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly.